There are consequences for Winter and her family if she wants to try to destroy two marriages on TV. And I hope that she understands exactly what she has aligned with and who she has aligned with. Because what we witnessed last night was Winter taking a swan dive off that cliff and landing in the rocks.
Welcome to Cliff Alert. Today we're going to be talking about OWN Network's reality-based TV series, Love and Marriage DC Season Number 1, Episode Number 11, Reunion Part 1.
But before we get into it, we'd like you to like, share, subscribe. I think the best dressed couple was Monique and Chris. I love that dress Monique had on. It looked beautiful on her. Color of the dress on Ashley was beautiful. All the couples looked good last night, but I would give it to Monique and Chris.
I'm going to kind of concur with that. Even though I thought Ashley's dress was stunning, I thought that Chris and Monique were a regal looking couple. Chris was clean. Monique was just elegant in terms of their overall appearance and
I loved Irena's look too, with her hair in the bob. She looked really beautiful like that. I'm not a fan of no socks too with dress shoes, and I noticed that both Quick and
Jamie had
on
no socks.
Quick, when he sat down, the pants roll up, so it looked like high waters.
And you can't tell a brother pull up his loafers because that's not going to work.
But all in all, the couples look great, and I will give them props. I think they were the best dressed couples for any reality show reunion that I have seen.
They all looked good, even though I prefer, like you said earlier, Monique and Chris as a couple. They looked
as a couple. Carlos, the host, asked Chris whether he saw some stuff in himself that he would like to change, because the fans were saying that Monique brought him on the show to set him up to eventually get a divorce, and he immediately defended Monique.
Yeah, he did this and basically said, hey, look, this is not what this is about. I realized that my opportunity to look at this whole season on tape has kind of revealed some things to me about what it is I need to do within my marriage.
Right.
And it reveals that I haven't really heard and or understood what Monique has been saying for 10 years, and that I got to do better. It was just something where he took responsibility for his part of their marital and or relationship issues, and I think he did a great job with doing that. And
Monique also brought up the point that when we see black women crying, that's when the men are willing to listen. That she was just asserting herself as a black woman, telling her husband what she wanted and what she wanted to do. Her tone, she said, could have been, her delivery rather, could have been different, but that's the whole point. We did see that Chris could have brushed up on quite a few things that she was initially complaining about, but we also saw Chris doing stuff to protect, to love, to serve, to guide, to provide, and at no point, or maybe a few times, you saw Monique talking in a positive way towards her husband. She didn't say how good he was. She didn't say he's good at this, or this. All you heard from her was a sort of nasty, pervasive attitude towards him that was iffy at best and didn't speak too well of how they communicate in their marriage.
I think it was symbolic of her frustration and her inability regarding how to deal with it within the context of their 10-year relationship. And it springs back to, the emotional component which she has been in search of within their relationship from Chris.
Sometimes men are not very emotional, and there's a learning curve that they have to get with their other half, their significant other or their wife. Am I wrong with that?
No, I agree with you.
Because men do think that if they're providing, if they're there, if they're protecting, that's where it is. But women want something deeper and more emotional. And it takes time for a man to come to that place. So the hard part of it, I mean, because that has happened with us, is you got to repeat things that you want over and over and over again.
Right.
Because and then they get it. And sometimes the great thing about shows like these, they can see something that their wife or their woman or girlfriends have been complaining of. Light bulb goes in. Oh, just like Chris. He said when he saw it, he understood what Monique was saying.
Right. Right.
Sometimes brothers forget stuff.
Right. Sometimes we're not wired to think that way.
Right.
It takes time and experience and a little bit of, I guess, encouragement to get to that point, because most guys, I don't think are kind of wired that way, to think that way.
Right.
But I think Chris in this case did a really, really good thing by being reflective on that and saying, hey, look, I got to change, and it's not going to happen in season 2. And you know what? I give that brother kudos for doing that. And I think that he is in the right place to make it happen. I
think too, he represents a lot of men out there who have been one way and they didn't understand when their wives were complaining or even nagging them that this is what she needs, this is what she requires. And it's good that he could be that test tool situation for other men looking on.
He was very candid, very open about it, and I got to give brother props for that, for sure. And let me just say this too. The other part of this was something that really was disturbing to me about what Monique said. I don't know if it's in her confession or not, but she also said that she didn't see herself and them married 10 years from now if things continue to go on the way they have continued to go on over the past 10 years. And I'm like, you know what? If I were you, I would be very careful about what you put out there in the atmosphere about what may or may not happen based on what has happened in the past.
Your words can, let's say, manifest into something that you don't necessarily want. If you want a good marriage, if you want your marriage to improve, from my point of view, you can't be saying, I don't know if you're going to survive 10 years.
Right, because that's not very encouraging to not only your spouse, but also to yourself. The atmosphere will confirm what it is you speak out of your mouth.
Power of attraction.
One way or another.
Yeah, life and death is in the power of your tongue. That's what the word says.
Yeah, and apparently she didn't understand that when she made that comment right
Maybe so. So now we're going to focus on Ashley and Quick.
Yes.
And Ashley, because she wrote the book and she's on the show, she's now in the spotlight, which is where she always wanted to be. She feels happy that she's now arrived there. And Ashley really has star quality.
I think she has handled this transition with an extreme amount of grace and dignity, and really just, for somebody who hadn't been there, competence.
Yeah, and I think what has helped
very well.
I think what has helped her is because she's a straight shooter. She tends to not sugarcoat stuff. She will bring it to you plain
and simple, straight, no chaser.
No chaser. She ain't trying to make you feel good about who you are. She's just gonna speak what she feels.
Keep it 100 at all times.
At all times, even with her husband.
No question about it.
When Carlos asked her if given a choice whether she would marry Quick again, and she said, well, when they got married, she was 21 years old. She had to take care of children, a husband, a house, and her friends were, like doing their college thing.
And support her husband Quick in the development of his career at a young age.
She lessened who she was to support him and elevate him and lift him up.
Too, she went on even further and said and recounted how she was in need of quality time with him, the one-on-one quality time that would make her feel better about what it is that she was doing by sacrificing what she was wanted to do and her goals and aspirations in support of her husband at the time.
She even had to raise the children by herself.
Right, and that was very painful for her in many instances, almost to the point where she didn't realize that she was sinking into depression at some point in time.
Right, she said there was a void in her.
Quick has realized that Ashley taught him how to be vulnerable.
Yes.
She taught him how to really understand, what she was going through and the sacrifice that she made for him and for their family in terms of his career and in terms of their marriage. What that toll cost her.
Right.
Cost her, and he has a much better idea of she says some of the things she says, why she behaves the way that she does, and why it is now her time.
And she did say also that Quick knows what to do and understands what the issues are, but he doesn't necessarily do it.
Right.
She talked about the gout in his hand and the advice the doctor gave him about, what to do. And she came out and said, "Oh,
he's going to do what he wants to do.
He's going to do what he wants to do."
Right.
So, she still has that going on. However, she's now in a new position where the light is now on her.
If I'm understanding you, you're saying the spotlight is going to be more on her, so she's got to be even more cautious about what she chooses to partake in terms of revelation of their personal life.
Absolutely. I would watch Ashley. I would watch Ashley. Absolutely.
All I have to say is go on, Baltimore. Keep rolling.
Because I am so sick and tired of this fugazi stuff that's happening now on reality TV and people, but they can't stand each other. No, make it plain. Let us understand where we are. I don't like you. You don't like me. Fine, we good. We can move forward. I can't stand this deceitful, crazy stuff that I see happening.
Preach, Reverend Whiteford. You got a witness. And speaking of witnesses, we'll get into that a little bit
I
later.
mean, it's good to see that someone is racist. That's a good thing.
Exactly, because then you know who
you're dealing with
and where they are.
And where they are.
Absolutely.
So you know how to maneuver yourself.
Exactly, and how to deal with them.
If you see someone have secrets in your family, okay, you know who they are. Don't mess with them again. Boundaries. If they invite you to something, no, I'm not coming through because you're going to try to attack me and I'm not doing it today. Not today, Satan.
You got a collection plate you want to pass around? Because I'll contribute to it.
So now we're going to move to Irena and Jamie.
Jamie, yep. Mm-hmm.
And we only scratched the surface on Irena and Jamie because both of them didn't look like they were happy on that reunion stage. Jamie looks like he was kind of checked out.
He was nervous looking from the very beginning.
And Irena looked like she was pissed at him. I don't know if they had an argument or upset prior to filming, but they didn't look like they had a peaceable vibration between them.
Yeah, I think that there were some underlying issues that were evident prior to the taping and maybe that didn't get resolved.
Right.
And kind of lingered over into the...
When Carlos asks Jamie why he does not want to talk about his past, because he said he and Irena got together when they were, teenagers?
They were teenagers.
And
they married early.
They married early and ish happens.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a whole lot happened in that ish that we could speculate on, but he doesn't want to go back to it because based on what he said, he's indicated that Irena at one point had some financial issues and he had to teach her that, she got to do what, and that's what made her the woman she is today. I would be extremely upset if I had some financial issues in the past and to prove a point or to answer to what your wife or the Twitter sphere is saying, that I tell the audience that I had a financial issue.
Yeah, I don't.
I'll be ticked off.
I think that was a bad move on Jamie's part to kind of reveal, and also too, I think it was just handled just badly on top
because
of it.
he's saying when he's accused of not being controlling,
right,
that he had to control certain situations of their life
as
because
an example,
she was out of control.
As an example,
death.
exactly, and see that's part. He referenced that as being part of the public narrative about him as it relates to this season on this reality show. And the problem is what, like I said, he chose to use as an example to illustrate that was not
poor
good
form,
right.
Poor form.
Not a good one not a good example to use, and then on top of that, I would question his decision to do that anyway from the very beginning.
Absolutely,
because it was something that should have remained between them, unstated, and none of the public's business.
Going back to her past, as for who she was. And then talking about her now and saying he created the woman she is today. There is something kind of weird about that statement.
I wasn't sure why she kind of felt comfortable by saying, yeah, he's right.
Yeah, he's right.
He's right.
Is she that much under his spell? Because she said he was controlling in the past. She had no life. He was the only person she dealt with. And now she's learning how to speak up for herself.
Right.
After 26 years of marriage, when did that speaking up for yourself started? And the energy, there are a whole lot of ghosts in stories that they're unfolding. Initially, Irena, when she had a conversation about having an emotional affair with someone else, she indicated that it was one person. Now Jamie comes with a story, and he said there were 3 people, and one of them was his friend.
Right, he knew.
He knew. And when he elaborated on the type of text, he said it was a little explicit about what they wanted to do.
And after reading that, he was willing to go to jail.
And a man doesn't get to that point to go to jail until there's something significant that he is reading.
That's pushing him to respond.
Pushing him to the point to respond, like
that's
he's
exactly
gonna now get with you.
Right. He gonna hook him. He was gonna hook that brother up.
And he doesn't want to go back to that time.
Right.
Understandable.
And that was probably one of the reasons why he looked very uncomfortable the entire time, because of the recall on that past incident, and I think he said it was 12 years ago, and that he felt like they had moved beyond that and worked through that, right? But clearly it doesn't seem like they have.
No, because Irena still looks salty about the incident on when they were in front of the investment
the house
property.
Yeah.
And she related a story the night before where she went to an event he had, and he came out screaming at her, and he was screaming at her with people around. She is still salty about that situation.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem like she's been able to move beyond that, even though maybe the public face of that couple, would lead one to a different conclusion.
Absolutely.
I don't think she's moved beyond that, and I think there's still a lot of hurt that has been unaddressed, that remains as part of that.
Because part of it is she said she told Jamie was doing stuff that caused her to talk to these 3 men.
Staying out 5 o'clock, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, not
answering his phone and what have you. And nothing will send a woman buck wild crazy is that her man is out of the house 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning and he's not picking up his phone.
Right.
That's a time to set the house on fire, to get some bleach. I'm just playing. All of a sudden I hear that song, I bust the windows out your car, or Angela lighting it up.
In the desert.
Hey, but Let me set that aside.
Yeah, that's a tangent right there. Come on back, wifey. Come on back. Come on back. Come on back.
You know, sometimes you see stuff happening and you feel like some energy for it. I gotta let that go. Anywho. But if Irena, to hit back at Jamie, is having conversations with other people, that's not right either.
Right.
That's not right either.
Right.
Two wrongs can't make a right.
Will never equal a right.
And if it's like a tit for tat with put a ring on it that occurred between those two Fugazi those two Fugazi people,
Otis and Charlene.
If you're gonna do tit for tat, your marriage is over.
Yeah.
It's pretty much a wrap.
Yeah.
I think what this reunion revealed is that they have quite a few
They have some challenges.
They have some challenges that they have to overcome.
Yeah, and Irena feels like she has a voice now that, kind of...
Yeah, but the voice she has is putting her business on the street. Winter could not have any ammunition unless both Ashley and Irena put their business on the street. They just met Winter, and they're revealing that, they had a suspicion of affair. That's none of Winter's business. And as a wife, you keep your private stuff at the house.
Jamie actually responded to this whole notion about the public narrative that he was controlling and all of that with what I thought was an inappropriate response. He said, or he justified it or rationalized it by saying, this is the way that I was raised. Okay, it's almost like after 26 years of marriage, he doesn't understand that simply because of the way that he was raised does not mean that he has to continue in that vein or that mode without changing it and reaping the benefits of that change.
Right.
Absolutely. I just don't think that he took full responsibility.
No, he did not.
He
said, "This is who I am, like it or not."
Right. Some of his ish. And the problem, another problem that I have with that is that it puts the burden of change on someone else,
right.
Not himself, not where it originates, but on some outside entity other than himself.
Right.
No way, man, bro. You got to change it up.
Because one thing in a marriage is, if you want to live in a healthy space, people got to be able to check each other. To say, hey, that's not right what you're doing, and you got to decide whether you're going to apologize for it or not.
Right.
But people should have the space to be able to check you.
I just want them to be able to really and truly and openly and honestly put a lot of that stuff or whatever it is that they can right now that happened in the past, no matter how far it is, behind them in a legitimate way and not bring it up again, move beyond it, and just throw it in that ocean and let it go.
Because they present one thing,
right?
But there are a lot of ghosts when you get through that front door.
Yeah, and I want to see them make it because they've been at it for, like I said, over a quarter of a century. That's a long time,
right?
So
let's get to Miss Winter and Miss this understanding. Because Winter's been climbing off that cliff from the gate.
Yeah, she made her way to the top, didn't she?
She made her way to the top.
Yep.
And it was a deliberate move.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It was a deliberate and consistent move.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Miss Winter said first she was a life coach. That's what she told everyone at the table at the vegan dinner. All of a sudden on Twitter, it changed up that she's a spiritual life coach and she was in ministry. I have no idea what that means.
Who the hell in their right mind, okay, is going to go to Winter, somebody who's part of a raggedy-ass relationship, that divorce that she's going through, and go to seek advice from her about their own situation?
But that's the thing about cliff alerts. Too many people out there think the wrong thing is the right thing.
And the right thing
is the wrong thing. You're calling good evil and evil good.
Hello, preach. Well.
And that's why we decided that Cliff alerts, guidance, alerts, stop, stop, stop. Winter claims that she represents some sort of level of life, spiritual, and she is in the ministry. Monique said that her parents were in the ministry. What ministry is she involved in that tells her she needs to insert herself in 2 marriages that are none of her business? And not only that, create such a poisonous atmosphere that at the end of it, she wants to try to destroy them. You know who destroys stuff?
The devil.
The devil. And you know where there's a lot of confusion, who is in the midst? The devil.
Absolutely. And so what does that make her? The devil's advocate, don't it?
Absolutely.
Hello.
So calling people gutter Barbies and thinking that's cute, and then you go in the house of God or wherever you go to do this life ministry stuff and say, Lord, Lord. God checking. He watching. He didn't close his eyes. He's not asleep. He checking for you. That's why we gotta each be careful who we listen to, who is in our ear, who is telling us how to behave and what have you.
Now let me take this time to reiterate to you guys that we talking about Winter's behavior.
Behavior, not who we don't know her from Adam.
Right. Not who she is,
but the
her
behavior. Calling good evil and evil good.
Right. That's behavior.
Winter gets introduced to this group, and immediately Carlos asks her, how did she fare in the season and what she's all about. And she and Ashley immediately starts a back and forth about what her actual occupation is.
Right.
And she told Ashley on Twitter that she was being a mean girl, and Ashley just wanted clarification about what a mean girl is. Ashley kept her nose to that funk that she spread and kept her there because Winter likes to deflect.
Which is why Ashley, in my opinion, did an outstanding job of challenging Winter about what the issue was.
Right. When someone wants to manipulate and control a situation, they acknowledge their wrongdoing, but as soon as you hear a but after acknowledgement of a wrongdoing, you know the kind of person you're dealing with. If you see people who are exhibiting this kind of behavior, you now know what you're dealing with.
Exactly. That's
exactly
right. You can't
call good evil and evil good.
Exactly.
You can't think that people who bring in drama is just absent of any kind of demonic spirit they're dealing with.
Hello. Come on.
Whenever you're in the presence of drama, you gotta look around, check yourself, because that could even be you.
It really crystallizes, makes it crystal clear what, or at least one of Winter's agendas is. Clout chasing.
Yeah, Winter said clearly, based on the back and forth, when she admitted that she was lying and being deceitful about calling Ashley a mean girl, she said yes, but it was your delivery. And then Ashley came up with that funny term, I could be a pizza delivery from Domino's or whatever. That was funny.
Right.
But delivery has nothing to do with it.
Nothing to do with it at all.
And you see that Winter has the habit of admitting what she's doing, but there's a but behind it.
Still trying to deflect and
still trying to deflect.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely.
And what sent Ashley off is when Carlos asked Ashley whether she thinks Winter is a hypocrite, and she said,
"Hell to the yeah."
Yeah. What did you expect me to say anything different?
Right.
And then it began.
It
then Ashley started cussing Winter out, and she's trying to maintain Quick not to say anything to her because the woman should be in that position to deal with another woman.
Yeah, because Quick was visibly angry, and you know what? He leaned forward.
He leaned forward.
Ashley was like,
and at one point, Chris told him, "Hey man, it's a woman. Don't." And Winter is dating some new man that have a whole lot to say. He's been yapping and chirping and what have you.
Right. And apparently he ain't got no teeth in his head. One tooth in his head and two in his pocket.
And Quick was talking, saying, "You better not let that Mitch, tell that Mitch that he wasn't talking to Winter."
Right.
He called the Mitch was the man Winter was
Winter's new man.
Right.
Right.
When Carlos asked Winter, what has she heard and what have you, Winter smiles and said, "Oh, I may have, this is happening last week, I believe, I may have photographs and reports and
receipts.
Receipts. Winter, you got children, love. You have children. And you're still a young woman. You can't actively try to destroy 2 marriages and think it's going to go well for you. It's not. Not even close."
You know what? One of the reasons why it ain't gonna go well for her, just like you said, is because at some point, she is going to have to or get off the pot with what she claims she has, okay, in the way of evidence. And guess what? If somebody like Ashley and Quick and even Arani and Jamie get fed up to the point where they gonna pursue this legally, oh, it's gonna be on them, man.
That she can't come on TV and say something about someone. And I think Quick works corporate. He's on the radio.
Absolutely.
And Jamie does his thing all over the world.
Right.
And Jamie brought that up. You brought this stuff on TV.
Right.
You're trying to damage my career.
What is it called? Slander? Is that what it's called?
Whatever it's called, it's out there. It's out there.
And
so she could play sly. "Oh, I have receipts," and then she says, "Oh, that's so low. I'm not gonna go." The devil is telling you that he is not gonna go low. That's where
he already is.
That's where he is.
And those who
in the gutter.
And those who choose to align themselves are in the exact same place.
She won't go low, but she has that smile. Again, check it against your life experience and who you have that's exhibiting this kind of stuff.
Right.
And if it's you gotta change that up. Their spirit
stinks. There's a stench to it, and that's
stench.
And that is a hell of a comment.
No, it's an indication of what you're dealing with.
Absolutely. When you talk about somebody's spirit having a stench.
So, my friends at Cliff Alerts, whoever is listening, improve this. And God is going to give you awareness. He's not going to leave you blind or short or what have you. Sometimes you feel people coming from, the hairs raised on the back of your head. Anyone trying to get you into any confusion or drama or whatever, anyone who's trying to destroy another person's life and think that is cool for clout chasing, because there are people out there who's going to back up and support what Winter's behavior is. Check yourself.
Before you fall over the edge, or in other case, in the other case of Winter, like you said, she did a swan dive off of that cliff.
Because that's the thing about I gotta check when I watch this. Is that any of that in me? I gotta ask myself that. It frightens you because you gotta I gotta check myself. What am I doing that this stuff? When does this stuff becomes cool?
To me.
When does getting yourself involved in someone else's marriage become cool? And deliberately trying to destroy them because they said something about you? So that's all we have. A lot going on with this commentary, but it's gonna be different. And there's light. And we all gotta stay in the light.
And
blessings always. Be at peace. Whatever is going on, it too shall pass. Trust and believe. Have a good one.
Blessings.
Blessings always. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, get back with us, y'all. Let us know your comments.
Bye-bye.